she's okay with it, I'm fine with it.
Because when you listen, sometimes it looks like a super show. And people see examples, they say, these are because I think these things are important when I explained it, it's changed everything that I know. It just seemed, it seemed like it since I started.
Yes.
Everything had stood still. And then after I started.
So if we have someone sitting here,
Yeah, well, look at this, stencils, products, oh my God, get on to, make sure you're on.
You want me to move it out?
no, I want it to be
You're on
that the angle is good.
I just want to let you know that we have, like, if somebody first time, we have 3 washroom baskets here, 2 downstairs. We have snack and water here. We have tea and coffee here. If you need anything, please ask me, or otherwise feel free to use all the facility, tea, coffee, whatever you need. And thank you for coming, guys. And we'll just like, we will have also, so Emily will do, you can see everything here online, but we also put everything on TV. So if you look at her and you don't really see, just look a little bit brighter, then you can like
But
see everything.
There's also lots of space, and there's a
We have a
chair,
beautiful
and there's a
couch.
big open area
Yes.
here, and you can move closer. No one's gonna bite you.
Yeah, you don't have to sit here. If you want to lay down or like, please, massage, like, need to be ordered, but we have a massage like specialist here. So Emily.
Sold me.
I'm always so sweaty, so that's why I've never volunteered to be,
You want a model?
yes,
Cool, come sit down.
because
You would do the first one.
I'm always sweaty.
Here's also, yeah, come sit down.
Oh, you say like, I'm not there and we'll talk.
I'm just so hot.
I won't be able to get up on that chair.
So, I don't know what that's about.
Is that okay? No, my knees will not allow it.
What's the date?
Right now.
Emily, I will tell about this one before we start. At the beginning.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can, but I wasn't going, and I didn't know. The TV needs to be muted. Have a seat. I'll adjust the camera.
She's on the right side.
Get my good side. No, that's not that side. No, that's it.
I'm right-handed, so we'll do it.
That's not a good side at all. My good side's back here.
Whatever, if I move you that way, you don't move. Feel like that's a good angle? Center.
One second, I'm just gonna make the.
How is this going online? Okay. Yeah, this is live. We are live now.
Well,
So,
Sweetheart, you're famous.
Oh, against the. I love you. Are you taking that out for me or you? I love her.
come stand here.
They have all kinds of dog stores.
I know, we're just setting up the image. I'm saying come stand so we can, so it can show, you can chat, be in the frame. And if you see yourself on here, this is where it matters.
Her boobs are hot too.
So can you tell me when you can see yourself? Is it in a good shot?
And I can see I'm.
That's fine. Okay, and then the prizes are behind you.
Yes. I will not, I will not touch it.
This is $1.25.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I buy so much stuff. The toast.
It's a curse. So she'll
Lucky.
Give me a little close there. You guys are really good on TV.
Doesn't help that the hot flashes are getting like way worse and more often. And the heat is coming from like the inside out.
Do you drip?
Oh gosh. Like you're right in the middle of doing a birthday party and all of a sudden it's all the little beads start, right? I'm running. Yeah, and you can see the kids, just looking at all your little beads of sweat coming down.
Are you on hormone replacement? He's on hormone replacement. Hormone replacement. I went on that for years and I thought I was going to quit. And every time I quit, it would get worse. So I kept going back on. And finally I just quit. People don't think it's a real problem, but it really is.
It really is. Yeah, my poor hubby, he's like 90 pounds soaking wet, right? So he's always cold. He's always cold. And then
Do you fight over the thermostat? Do you fight over the thermostat?
he puts on layers.
Okay, so Amram told me that he will start to like,
Thank you.
how it goes. So
Maybe
it's
after.
like, so thank you everybody for coming. I think we are now live, so everybody can hear you. And then we will show you all around. So thank you for everybody who able to come, and thank you everybody who watching. A huge thank you Donna Novak and ProAiir. They supply a lot of giveaways. So Emily will do some draw at the end of the class for participants. Then we'll do some special giveaway for online viewers, yeah? And then we will do another giveaway for she will announce. So Emily will tell you everything about prizes, but thank you so much for sponsoring our workshop. They send a lot of samples, so if somebody not able to come to our class, you can come to visit our shop and try all the new amazing products like ProAiir solids. It's absolutely amazing product, and Emily will tell you more about solids, dips, and how you can use it. Okay.
Yeah, you look good on camera.
Yeah. Now you're smart. Model for us.
Does it say how many people are watching?
Yeah, there are 6 people watching.
Oh, we probably know them too.
Hi, Pauline, if you're there. Hi, Lisa. Hey, Sarah.
Alright, so this is some gold dips that I put onto this little wedge. And we're going to do an eye design. And so I'm going to use this to stencil the background. And it's the exact same way that you would use cake makeup. It's just that you don't have to rub it on a cake to activate the dips. They're already in a gel-like consistency.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Before you start, do you need to wipe anything down with alcohol first?
No, you can, but it'll increase the longevity if you wipe it down with alcohol. I don't particularly like putting alcohol on my own face.
Yeah.
I find that it's something really harsh to put on my own face, so it's not.
Something you want to put on.
It's not exactly. It's not something I want to put on little kids' faces or other adults' faces, just because I know it's sort of drying to the skin.
Right.
The products that are made out of like anything that's from ProAiir is made with a cosmetic grade alcohol, so it's not like putting on straight alcohol to your face. It's like putting liquid eyeliner all over your face. That's the kind of comparable base, except it's pretty colors. It has a lot more variety and less additives. So that's the background. Did everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to add in a flower with the dips, and this is going to be essentially painted the same way that you paint on with your cake makeup.
Show on the camera how you activate it.
I did. You just, there's a delay. So you can't see it when I do it right away. So there's Prolong that's put on the solids palette. You have to activate them with Prolong to make them opaque. If you don't use Prolong and you use alcohol instead, you'll end up with transparent coverage and your paint will crack over time.
I like that we can watch the replay on TV.
Yeah, you get the instant replay.
I know, it's so cool.
So I've put down a blue base and put petals around it. So all I did was I took a curve, made a curved line, and then added in a petal shape. And the solids work really well for layering. And so by adding color and layers, you can get a much more dynamic look without having to use, without having to mix them into the palette. So to add to that, I'm going to take the white. That's like 3 or 4 drops of the Prolong. It's probably a little bit of overkill. And then activate that through there. So I'm just doing essentially a white outline, but we'll also add a black outline as well. And so when I'm changing colors with my brushes, I have a 2-bin system, and it's 91% alcohol in both bins. It's just so that I get all of the pigment out. And then those brushes are left to dry completely, and I'm using a clean brush for the next step. So the next color we'll add on is pink. So I'm brushing it on the inside of the petals to kind of give it more depth, and it'll make kind of a purplish tone, which will work nicely when we add the middle and when we make the leaves. For the leaves, we're going to use a half. For the leaves, we're going to start with blue on a 1/2-inch brush. Everybody see that? And you're going to do them the same way that you would normally do leaves, but just blue. So what's really nice about the ProAiir solids is you can layer your colors. And to layer this, we can make a green by putting the yolk yellow right on top. The blue and the yellow layer particularly nicely because the yellow doesn't seem to have a lot of white pigment in it. So you can see when I'm loading this how I'm using a really, really tiny amount of paint. So you'd make this palette go a really, really long way because you're using such a small amount.
You're using the same activator for each color?
I'm using the same Prolong in the matte formula.
Okay.
Yeah, there's the Prolong activator. If you activate the solids palette with with alcohol, you'll end up with transparent coverage, and it won't provide, it'll crack over time. Whereas the Prolong essentially works as a binder for the pigments that are in the solids. The solids are 4 times the concentration of the hybrid paint, and so if you add the alcohol, you're drying that out further.
The first color you used, was it a dip? The
This
very
is
first-
gold, this one.
It was a dip.
Gold dazzle dip on a latex, on a makeup wedge sponge. Okay. Okay, this is the Prolong. Everybody can see it. I think everybody got to try it. And if you didn't get to try it before we started, you can try the solids palette afterwards. And if you didn't get to make a split cake with the dips, then you can also make your own split cake and take it home with the dips. So this is with the black, and what we're gonna do we're gonna see how far we can get this brush to go. I've outlined 2 petals, and I'm doing the second leaf. And now I think I have to add more. You can see I got a fair amount done before running out of paint on my brush, and that's pretty good for an alcohol-based product because it does evaporate quite quickly.
So even though you're going to go to black again, you're using a totally different brush.
I'm using a dry brush just because my previous brush I rinsed it with alcohol. And I don't like to double dip my colors.
Right, okay.
So you could, in theory, because this is a completely alcohol-based paint, you could double dip it, but that just seems wrong to me. So I wouldn't double dip when I face paint. So I've switched brushes. Does anyone have any questions?
What about glitter? Would you bother applying glitter because it's all dry?
You can actually put glitter gel right on top, and it's not going to smudge it because a glitter gel product won't smudge an alcohol-based paint because the alcohol will be dry. So it would go really, really nicely with glitter gel, except that all of our glitter gel is locked up in the store.
I see you.
So, does anyone do that?
Agree.
Yes, put glitter gel.
It was on the
If you
list
look
of
over
things to
fast,
bring
you
up,
can
but
see.
then I didn't do it.
Ooh, I like it.
Don't use
Here's that, like, 10 second delay.
That's so funny.
You have to show yourself to the victim and then look.
That's right. So this is entirely using just the solids palette and a little bit of the gold dazzle dips, which is this product. So I don't know if everybody saw me put some of that onto a sponge. I just kind of tipped it over and dabbed it onto one of this kind of a sponge. And then I tested it on my hand to make sure that it wouldn't seep under my stencil, and then stenciled it on.
How do you wash the sponge with the?
I just throw them out.
Okay.
And they're really inexpensive sponges. They're like those little latexy wedge things. So I don't bother trying to keep them. Now I'm just adding in some teardrops. Yeah, I can see it. So you can see how we get this kind of layered effect by putting the pink on top of the blue, and it makes it look much more dynamic than just putting the blue flat. And then the green is all entirely with this, sorry, with this blue color, and the yellow washed on top. So the yellow is intentionally put on in a transparent layer to get that green. So you can still do stuff like flowers even though there's no green in this palette.
And someone's asking online, how would you wash the sponges, not these ones, but like any other sponges? Or would you only recommend
I
using
wouldn't use other sponges because other face painting sponges absorb water, and so they'll absorb the alcohol paint, and you'll end up there'll be a lot of paint stuck in your sponge that you won't necessarily be able to get out very easily. So these are the kinds of sponges that we don't recommend for face painting with water activated face paints because they repel water. So you won't get even coverage with water activated paint with this kind of a wedge sponge.
You guys, you sell those sponges?
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't get even covered with them, but they do work well for the alcohol-based product because they repel and don't absorb. So you don't want it to absorb because it will just dry out before you need to activate it. What color glitter should we put on?
All of them.
What's
She's
the
enjoying this too much.
Which one?
The new one.
Or do you want me to bring the vivid one?
If you want.
I think I was quite cute today.
You can wait for that one.
It's my exercise.
So if my hubby's watching, I can tell him I can go to bed with this on. He's always, wash your face off, wash your face off.
Yeah, it won't get on the sheets because it's all alcohol based.
What do you use to apply the gel glitter with? Just a regular brush?
This is a silicone wand, so it's you can feel it. It's all. It's really cool because because it's silicone, it smooths on the gel really nicely, and then it also. I think I've sold them to everybody in this room. They work really well with the gel because they smooth it on really nicely, and you can kind of use it as a scoop and place it in specific spots. The other thing that's really nice about them is you can sanitize them completely in alcohol because they're non-porous. So, thank you. Yeah, you can sanitize them completely, and it's really easy to do that in between people when you're face painting because it's just kind of, you dip it in water, you're in alcohol. I usually dip it in alcohol, wipe off the extra glitter, and then dip it in alcohol again, and then it gets left to dry. And that's the drying process of the alcohol is the time where it kills all the bacteria. So we're going to put a product that we don't actually have in the store yet on here. This is this is from Vivid Glitter. And we have a package coming from them in the mail, and we will be adding them probably before the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Festivity, which is, I'll pass it around after. So it's brand new. You can't buy it today, but you can buy it at our next jam.
I get to take it home and away.
Well, if we put some on us, we
There
get
you
to
go.
take it.
Yeah.
Too.
But it's a really exciting new product, and everybody who's watching live and everybody who's in this room gets to be the first people to hear that we're going to be carrying them. So we have a whole bunch of stuff.
I thought she was going to be like Oprah. You get one and you get one.
Everyone, look under your chair.
Yeah, I'll have her walk around too when we're finished.
Wow, that's cool. That's
So
cool.
this we can pass around. Thank you. And this, we're going to put some of this.
There's no issues putting it above the eye, worry about anything falling down or anything like that?
Not on an adult. I would be more concerned about a kid. That's good.
But this is all plastic, this is not metal anyways.
Yeah, it's not metal anyway. So if chunky glitter gets into somebody's eyes, because it's chunky glitter, it'll be really uncomfortable, but it won't cause any damage because there is no metal in this glitter. It's all polyester. So that's a benefit to it. I wouldn't put it this close to someone's eyes on a kid. It is still away from her eye socket, so I always recommend to put it, to use the eye socket kind of as a guideline for where it should go.
I can see that at night being really amazing. Like at the C&E or something.
It's closer so everybody who's live can see. And then do you want to walk around?
That's so pretty.
So do you want to walk around, and then if anybody has any questions, we can answer.
We can touch you and.
Yes, please touch me.
Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any questions about ProAiir products?
How many people are watching now?
There are 6 people watching, and 1 person liked our video. And
We should all watch.
There you go.
If we watch it on our phone, well, do we get double entries into the thing?
I'll write your name
Oh.
if you're watching live, comment with something so that Armor knows to write your name on a card, so that when we draw for the prizes after, your name is in the bag that we draw from.
Just say hi, basically.
It's easier to remember, right? Quick, turn around and look at yourself talking.
Yeah, you see?
So does anyone have any questions about the ProAiir solids palette? Or about the dips? Nobody has any questions?
I think just one more time, you use the same single one to activate, right? The same jar.
I'm using the same,
That
I'm
one,
using
that's
this.
the
This is
one
what I'm using.
activator for all these
Yeah.
companies.
Yeah.
So it's not like a
Same
white for white,
activator.
okay.
No, there's no white, because this is clear.
Just wanna make sure I'm not.
Oh yeah, this is great question. This is clear, and so it activates all of them. This can also be used for the split cakes that we were making, and for the people who are watching online. Our giveaway for this, we always do a free gift at all of our jams, and the free gift that we have for this jam is a button and a piece of plastic, and we have all of our dips out on our table, and everybody can make their own split cake with the dips because they're a gel-like consistency. And I don't know if you had a chance to make them yet. Okay, so because the dips have a gel-like consistency, you can lay them in strips and then activate it when it's wet or when it's dry. And if it's dry, you're using this exact same activator, the ProAiir activator, to put onto the dips, onto your strips of dips that you've laid out, and then you can use it exactly like a split cake. So you can also use it for. Yeah, I said it already.
And carrot ice
You
cream.
can also use it for a double dip flowers. Oh, you can use it for double dip flowers. So you can use it for double dip flowers. You have to do it in a specific way. So you need to. I can show you how to do it. For double dip flowers, there's an extra step that you don't necessarily need to do for water activated flowers. You'd need to add the paint to your brush and then remove some from the end of it, which you sometimes do when you're working with water activated paint, but not always, and then add your second color. For doing that, we can experiment doing it a couple different ways. Does someone want a model? And we can do.
You can do my shoulder, I just don't want my face.
We can do
That
your
helps.
arm.
You can do my arm. I don't have a face.
You see the surface.
Where would it be good?
Right here.
Yeah?
Actually, do we want to put the taller chair out?
It's up to you. Great. I've got a lot of arms.
I think we're good. We'll do it up here. So let's do a stenciled base again, because I don't think everybody saw that. And I put my stencil down. So did you see what
Any special brushes you're using or any type of brush?
I'm using brushes that, I'm actually using the Hokey Pokey brushes because we have lots of them, and I don't care if I soak a set of those brushes in alcohol. You don't want to use ones that are super, 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 super nice, because they will dry out with the alcohol, and they'll not, the alcohol does damage your brushes slightly.
So we'll go through brushes faster.
You will go through brushes faster, but you also get to offer waterproof face paint. So
Charging more.
it ends up, you can definitely charge a little bit more. And if you can also, your brushes that are already dying for your water activated paints, you can kind of use some of those.
The stencil gets cleaned off with alcohol too, doesn't it?
The stencil is totally dry.
Is it necessary to even clean it off?
It is alcohol based, so it's not terribly necessary because it's 100% alcohol, so there's nothing that's going to be on this stencil.
And it will not stain the skin if you reapply it.
Yeah. So you can wipe it down with alcohol. This is the plumberry dips with the gold dips mixed in. And I'm kind of just packing it on there with this sponge to get a little bit of a background. And it looks like you're all bruised right now, but we'll fix it. And we need the activator. So for this, I'll use the one that's. We also have, and if anybody hasn't had a chance to try these yet, we have the palette open. We have the Prolong activator and the gloss version of the activator. And we have the black and white solids open as well. So if you're in this room and you haven't tried them yet, there are plenty of them floating around, and you should definitely give them a try before you head downstairs.
To buy them all.
They're a new product, so you should experiment.
So if Mom asks you, how long is this gonna stay on my child's face? What is 3 months?
It'll wash off with liquid soap and water. So first liquid soap, and you rub it in until it turns all gray, and then add water, and it'll wash off just fine like that. It also comes off. Sorry.
That's cool.
It also comes off with anything that's
Alcohol based?
lotion based, anything oil based.
Oh,
Anything oil based will take it off because it doesn't like oil.
so what if the child gets done on Friday and is going to school on Monday? Would it still?
It could.
It, like, in theory might stay, but it will eventually wear off. The paints do end up lasting, I think they say it lasts 3 days.
Okay.
So this is with the white dips and the plumberry dip color. So how I have this on here is, I've put squeezed out some of the dips there, and then I took one of these triangle wedge sponges and just wiped off the tip of it, and then put it into the purple one, which is mixed with gold from my base. And then it becomes the flower. And it's the same process for the flowers as your regular double dip flowers. And you can do other flowers this way as well. We'll do people who are watching on here. This is the process we showed everybody already in the jam room, the dips and squeeze out a line of it, and then you're adding additional lines of dips to that to use it as a split cake. And then these split cakes can be used when they're wet, or they can be reactivated with the Prolong to, so you don't have any wasted product. So you can see how you can use this the exact same way that you would use regular face paint. It's a little bit more liquidy, and it's a little bit of a different consistency, but it is very similar.
It doesn't smell bad either.
It has a
It's
fragrance
not-
to it.
yeah,
It
it
has a
smells-
weird smell.
Smells
It smells like green apples and cosmetic alcohol.
It's not bad. I don't know.
It's not.
No,
It doesn't
no,
smell
it
like.
doesn't smell bad at all.
Yeah, it doesn't smell
It's not
like
like full alcohol. It's
Yeah.
like, it does have that bit of an apple smell.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has an apple smell.
Frequent, a little bit of a perfumey smell there. Yeah.
So we're gonna do the leaves on this the same way that we did the other leaves, but we're going to edge it in some of the plumberry. So that's with the ProAiir solids in electric blue on my brush there. And then I'm taking the tip of that and putting it just the corner and putting it into the plumberry, thank you, into the plumberry. So that when I put these on, I can get a little bit more depth when I go back and put yellow on top to make them green. But yellow and purple are complementary colors, and so if you put yellow on top of your purple, it'll turn into a darker tone, some shade of brown or blackish. So by just having a hint of that in our leaves, we will we'll get kind of a more variation than just getting straight green like we did in our last leaves, where we got green with a little bit of blue, whereas this will be a little bit more, have a little bit more variety to it, a little bit more change in shade.
I will keep it on for as many days as possible. We'll see. No,
Okay,
what?
back.
You can let us know.
I will let you know.
Post a picture after.
I'm heading to a thing tomorrow, so we'll see.
Appointment with this one
Oh.
tomorrow.
Question, how does it stand up to swimming pools?
You can hop in a pool with this on, and it should be fine. So it won't, the chlorine will eventually deteriorate it a little bit. So it doesn't stay on all day long. I think it's about an hour or two that it should be fine. And ProAiir has a video on their YouTube channel where they have someone doing airbrush face painting, so face painting with the hybrid product. And I think they use dips for outlining in that video as well. And then that child goes and hops in a pool, and they show the footage of her swimming around, and you can rub it, and it's not going to come off.
I don't know what the difference between saltwater pools and chlorine pools.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a whole lot of testing done on that specific, all of the,
Saltwater pool would be a lot less damaging to the paint.
but it should be fine for the duration of an event. It should last for that.
I think opposite salt water will remove it faster.
But if
Because
there's no
of this,
friction on it, unless
It's
you're like
so
rubbing
clean,
it,
remove
like hard,
Yeah, just
Well,
like
swim
paddock dry.
Glitter will definitely come off.
literally.
Yeah, the glitter will come
Will
off.
fly on top of the swimming pool.
All this glitter
You
stuff
would be
you see
allowed
on
in
the
the pool
pillow.
with that face.
I'm so upset.
But even like running like a tap running off it, nothing happens.
Yeah.
We can put some water in it if you would like.
Yeah.
Christine.
Or we get
We can do a
pools,
test
maybe a
later.
hotel room pool, so I can test it out tomorrow.
And you're doing
Nice to see.
So,
So before I
Fancy
forget,
out there.
Emily, let me ask you a question. So the split cake that you made,
Mhm.
it's, the colors everywhere now, it's all muddy.
yeah, so if you let it dry, then you end up with something that looks like this, or you have it all in nice little lines. And if you don't, you can still add more paint on top of this one.
So that
And
won't, like if you put just white on the one side, that won't get muddy like a pink or
if you
something?
put just white on one side here and you don't add more of the pink and the purple,
Okay,
it won't activate to the same consistency.
okay,
So it might work, but you can experiment with it later.
okay.
For people who are watching online, we're just talking about how this split cake that we made and then used for the roses on her arm is all muddy, and that you could add more paint on top of it. And if you let your dips dry in between, then you end up with something that looks more like this, which is less muddy. And then this is reactivated with Prolong and a flat brush. You get a similar effect.
Well, how would you use the Prolong? Would you put it on there or would you put it on
Yeah.
the brush?
I would put it on. I put it on to the actual plastic.
Okay.
Okay. So. Oh, it's okay. I'll be fine. So now that we've kind of established that this method makes really pretty flowers, we're just going to add in a few more buds that kind of are placed a little bit differently into these negative spaces. And then what's really cool about the solids palette is we can actually use the solids to highlight this design, and it'll be opaque with the white on top of that really strong purple. And so to do that, we just take the regular paint in the palette with the Prolong. And Prolong is essentially hybrid without any pigment in it. So hybrid is Show Off Bodies are airbrush paint. And whenever I'm rinsing off my brushes here, I'm rinsing them off in alcohol, not in water. If you add water to any of these products, when they're wet, they will turn to chalk. If you add water to them when they're in an airbrush and they turn to chalk, that's really bad because they'll clog your airbrush quite fast. So these, we can get really crisp white dots. And that's with, if you can't see, you're more than welcome to come closer. So we're getting these really crisp white dots with this ProAiir Solids product on top of that other paint.
I want to hang your arm on my wall.
I have children at home. I'll come over.
We'll call you Art.
Good for 3 to 5 days.
Does anyone online have any questions?
So far, so good.
Is Donna online? If you want
No.
Could be.
to say hello
She
to
could
Donna.
be incognito though.
No,
She knows
don't
that.
let yourself be known.
Does anyone in the room have any questions?
We're too busy admiring.
I was gonna say I could just keep painting. I think we're just about done. We could add some glitter to that, and then we can walk around the room. Unless you don't want glitter.
No, do it if you want. I'm happy for anything. Although my shirt sleeve will go up down after. So
Okay, we can take off the glitter after. We can spray it with
I
water.
am good with glitter. Glitter always.
If this is actually completely dry, then we can spray it with water, and you can see how water resistant it is.
Yeah.
So,
I have a bucket.
People online, you're spraying me with water. Vote if you think they should.
Pink
That one has
factor.
Why do you have a bucket? No,
It's only a small one.
So these ones are for airbrush.
This is the glitter challenge.
These ones here,
These
the
guys are
hybrid product, they're good for airbrushing.
These are for airbrushing.
And then these guys are twice the consistency of hybrid. And the solids are 4 times the consistency of the hybrid product.
I'm still a little confused.
Playing Vanna White there.
So we're filling up a spray bottle full of water. so that you can see what happens.
Go for it. No, go. You go.
We won't get you too much.
You go. I'm good with it. I'm excited. This is so beautiful.
Okay, so we're gonna just spray this with water.
Oh no, it's okay. I know.
Maybe she wants to like.
Me too. Listen, I'm 43. I'm mostly sweaty. Okay.
So you can see we just sprayed that with water.
Might
And
start
it
doing my
didn't-
makeup in
It
this.
didn't, nothing happened. I'm dabbing it off, and I'm getting a little bit of color on the paper towel, but it's not a lot.
Okay,
It's
here's a
not
white
leaking at all.
paper towel. Nothing. Wow.
And that's
Nothing.
after
Oh yeah, you're
about
right.
6 sprays
Nothing.
of water,
Nothing.
so we can try it again.
Go for it. Spray me down.
Someone is asking also, and I can volunteer myself, but they just basically want to see
Okay,
washing
ready?
it off Emily afterwards. As
Yeah,
well.
we can do something.
A
like-
little
A
bit
little
of
bit.
pink. Very, very little. But didn't change the.
And that's mostly because it didn't change the design
Didn't
at all.
change the design.
And it's mostly because, sorry, I'm getting your elbow before
I'm
it
okay
gets
with
on you. It's mostly because it's a thicker layer. So if you were airbrushing it on, it wouldn't come off
Mm-hmm.
because it's going on in thin layers, whereas this was brushed on quite thickly. And so that causes it to come off a little bit faster. To make it last longer, you can put the Prolong spray. This is our not real Prolong bottle, but it's Prolong spray. And it, no,
Oh no.
we misplaced it somewhere in the store. I'm not sure.
Anyway,
It's a couple days ago.
it's pro.
It's Prolong spray, and this
Smells
is
the
used
same as
as
the other
a,
Yes.
yeah, it's the exact same thing. And it's used as a setting spray for water activated paint and for airbrush paint. And it works really well for this. So what's happening is on the surface of her skin, there's all of these little bumps from the brush strokes. And the Prolong kind of fills in all those bumps and provides an extra layer of sealant and makes it last longer.
So cool.
So
And Kara's
Shinier.
asking, can you use the hybrids to make the split cakes or just the dips?
the hybrids are too liquidy. So the hybrids are, I can show you the consistency of them. Actually, we can listen to it. This is the consistency of the hybrid. And you can hear the difference with the dips. You can hear that this is like, you can hear that this is a gel and this is definitely a liquid. And you can see that as well. For who's asking online.
Here's for Kara, yeah.
This is, you can see that's the hybrid. So it's really running everywhere. And it goes on it's really thin when it goes on. Whereas the dips won't do that. The dips,
Or you can put the white background so they can see it.
the dips go on really thick, so you can see that there's it's like has some height to it. And it's not going to run very much. It'll run a little bit, but it's not, even when I shake it, it's not really
I
moving.
like the hybrid.
So that's the dips, and the hybrid is already running down the plastic. So that's the main
hybrid?
difference. Because it's a hybrid airbrush formula that you can take off with liquid soap and water,
Okay.
and you don't need alcohol to remove it. The alternate product that they carry is the ink, which is used for airbrush tattoos, and it stays on the skin for 5 to 7 days. This stays on the skin for 2 to 3 when used it for airbrushing.
Hybrid.
Hybrid. And you can use hybrid on the face and the body. Ink should only be used on the body and not for body painting. Because you don't want to have to take off the ink from your whole body, because that would be a lot of. So if it doesn't come off with liquid soap, anything oily will take it off the rest of the way. So anything that has lotion in it, you could use coconut oil, baby oil
Do we
works.
have stuff here so we could remove it?
We do. We should be able to remove it with liquid soap. The dish soap works better than the hand soap.
You're gonna remove it?
Doesn't want to come
No,
off.
no, no,
remove it.
no, not yours, but I'm saying
Okay.
we can add paint on like just a stroke
Yeah,
of
the
paint.
rainbow.
So we're gonna put some of this festival glitter, or some of this vivid glitter, my mistake. This is the new vivid glitter that we don't have in the store yet, but we will, and you guys are all the first to know about it.
And now we get to take it home.
Right.
So you can see how I can put this directly on top of all of that paint, and it's not going anywhere. It's not moving at all. It's just hanging out. I can just place it.
No Oprah Winfrey moments.
Maybe we'll split.
It's okay, I'm
this.
gonna collect it later and put it in a little pile.
Just kidding, clients.
Activated
Or
with
are
aloe
you?
vera.
Okay. Are we ready to do some prizes?
Sure.
Does everybody want to do some prizes? Does everybody online want to do some prizes?
Did we?
Maybe, potentially.
Oh, no, they don't have to, we'll just do prizes for us.
Let's do prizes for- Well, we actually have 2 prizes for everybody who's in here.
Based on the registration, put everybody's
What's the
name.
name on
in.
Yes.
Yeah, so everybody who registered and came, they have their name in.
Yes, everybody's name's there, and I checked it over. So
Yeah.
everybody's name. I didn't put people's names who's canceled, but everybody else who's confirmed that they would be here. Are here. Yeah, let's move this closer so that everybody online can see. Just get a closer look.
So pretty.
It really is.
Beautiful job.
And then do you want to take a look, walk around so that everybody can get a closer look? And well, you can see
Oh, yeah. There's 2 different tones of green when you mix it all together.
Yeah, of course. No, it was. I have it on disorganized files I've been painting with it.
But then you have
I'll
to
organize
buy
it again after we after
The small one, I think it's $6.99.
Yeah.
But they can use it on top of the face paint as well. On top of the face paint, regular face paint, and it will make the face paint water resistant.
You mean do the spray it on?
Just
Wait,
the activator.
not the activator.
Yes, it's activator. The Pro.
Yeah, it's perfect. What it is.
Yeah, it's the same product.
Oh, so it's the spray and that is the same thing then?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So for the tips, you usually want to pour it, but if you apply it on the top of the face paint design or as a sealant, you want to spray it.
Yeah, a very thin coating on it, yeah.
Do you need to set prolong or not?
No, Prolong is a setting spray. You don't need to.
Sometimes it's a little bit sticky.
It's only sticky usually if it's very much on, so you can put
me.
baby powder on.
That is so gorgeous. Very cool. Thank you.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was gonna make sure I do mine.
Okay.
There you go.
Do you want to go?
I was just gonna do it from the bag, or you can do it from the bag.
Even just
My
randomly.
hand fits in the bag.
Yeah, you're making this
Perfect.
one.
Your arms are
My hand fitting, that's not an issue.
Can I make a little split cake thing too?
Yeah, I'm gonna put the stuff back too when you're done. It's kind of.
Yep.
You can make it now.
Okay, do you want to like show what we give away with our prizes?
I'm just making sure that everybody is here.
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
Let's show everybody who is here.
Well, let's do.
Like around.
No, it makes it all. We had complaints about it. Okay, so our first prize for everybody who's here. So your names are gonna go on for this. So you might want to know what it is. And it comes in this really cute little takeout box. And it has these stickers in it that say I use skin safe makeup. They're like vinyl stickers that you can put in your kit. And it has a t-shirt that was given to us by ProAiir. And it's
Nice.
Is it one size fits all?
That's a lie.
So I have everybody's names in a bag that I just put down. I have everybody's names in here. And do you want to read it out?
And you wouldn't believe who's the lucky winner. Stacy.
Oh, for
Congratulations.
You get the one size fits all.
Who's got $20?
Congratulations, Stacy.
Sorry, what was that?
Everybody
People are
online
saying
says
congrats, Stacy,
Oh,
as
congratulations.
thank you.
So,
Only 4 of them did. too.
this is our other prize for the people who are here today. And we have another prize that's very similar to this one for everybody who's watching online. And this one has a 2-ounce bottle of ProAiir. It has a couple of these little cup things that work really well for dips. So especially if you're using dips in solid colors, you can put them in here, close them up, reactivate them with the ProAiir as needed. You also get 2 colors of hybrid from the Atomic collection, which look like this. So these are blacklight reactive opaque paints. They're kind of a unique formula. You also get twisty caps for the paints. You get 2 colors of dips, which is the gel-based formula. And you get
Does my name go back into the bill?
You get another one of those vinyl stickers that says I use skin safe makeup. And you get a full-size ProAiir Solid in black
That's it, I'm taking all the names
and
out.
another full-size in white.
Nice.
So we have 2 full-size of the new solids. We have 2 dips in plumberry and in pink. We have a really good prize this jam, thanks to ProAiir for sending us stuff to give for our prize. So, let me just put this all back in here.
That box can hold a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's just gonna take a box.
They kept coming on.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like, a clown.
So, that's our little prize.
That's fantastic.
Good luck, everyone.
And the winner is Celine.
I have these here.
So for people who are watching online,
We each get one dip of the box.
for people who are watching online, we have a very similar prize that has almost all the same stuff. So you get your little cups, you get your 2 ounces of ProAiir activator. You get, instead of pink and plumberry dips, we have, I almost dropped it. We have yellow and electric blue. And instead of the other colors of Atomic hybrids, we have orange and pink is the colors. You still get a I Use Skin Safe makeup sticker, and you still get twisty caps for everything, and little cups to mix your dips paint in. And you get a full-size ProAiir Solid in white and a full-size ProAiir Solid in black. So that's for our online viewers. And we put that over here and we'll do a draw.
Is that your online bag?
So this is the online bag.
You'll take it from the
Put
wrong
the
bag.
name, everybody who comment online, so he put all their names there.
The same bag.
Miranda.
Yeah.
So let's see if she comments. So Miranda, send us an email to support@hokiepokey.ca with your address and we'll ship your prize out tomorrow. And we also have another giveaway that we will announce right now, and we will put it on social media later this week. And it is a contest to win a full-size ProAiir Solids kit. So the ProAiir Solids kit come with the same palette that we've been playing around with all night. And they come with a 1 ounce bottle of Prolong Activator with a twisty cap. So you get the whole thing. And you also get a I Use Skin Safe makeup sticker. And to enter this contest, everybody will have to paint something using ProAiir products of any kind. And then you'll send that to us through social media, and we'll have a post set up, like I said, later this week. So once you see that post, you can start sending us your photos of your designs using ProAiir products. And we will run a draw in about 10 days or so. The actual post will have a confirmed date. And anybody from social media at all can
Enter.
yes, like there's a word I'm looking for. Anybody can enter this promotion. It will be live by the end of the live probably by Wednesday. And everybody who's here, you have, with your free gift that everybody got, you have your little button and your little instructions on how to make a split cake, and you all have the plastic for how to make split cakes like these. So everybody should have some ProAiir product that they can use to paint a design with. We also still have this, we have a black and a white solid open as a tester, and we have our whole palette open as a tester as well. So you can paint something tonight and you can post it later in the week to enter this contest to win this solids palette. If you're watching from online, then as long as you're painting something that uses ProAiir products, then you are eligible to enter into the contest as well. And we'll post all the exact details for the dates and the deadlines for that kind of thing later this week. Now, does anybody, before we turn off the live stream, does anybody have any questions about the ProAiir solids or the ProAiir dips or hybrid products? So we can answer them all together.
Actually, yeah, what is the most waterproof out of all of them?
In theory, they're all about the same level of water resistance. They're all the same paint, just in different formulas. So they're the same pigments, they're the same binders, just different amounts and different amounts of all of those different things. So the dips, when used for the technique that we used for the rose, they'll come off faster because there's more ridges to it. It's a little bit more rough.
So would the hybrids be better?
The hybrids in an airbrush will go on very smooth, and so they won't have very many things to catch on. You can paint them, but they're not opaque because they're not really a brushable consistency. You remember when we took a sample of the hybrid is the one that's dripping everywhere, and the dips are the one that's still not dry yet. So you can brush on with the hybrid, but the hybrid is quite transparent. So it would be really good for layering, but not necessarily for painting on large areas of color. The solids as well, you can apply with a variety of brush sizes to get different coverage. You can also use this kind of sponge with the dips or with the solids. I find that the dips is my preferred consistency for sponging on a base or for doing stenciling, whereas the hybrids are a little bit too liquidy, but they do airbrush beautifully. It's just that this is a really accessible way, especially this palette is a really accessible way to start doing waterproof face or water resistant face painting, and having even just something to have in your kit in case you go to an event and it starts raining. Or you know when you show up to an event and they don't tell you that it's a pool party, or they don't tell you that it's a sprinkle, that they have a sprinkler going, and you're like, oh great. How am I supposed to do face painting now?
Or jumpy castles that don't allow sometimes face paint.
I don't know if the bouncy castles wouldn't allow.
Why not? They should.
Face paint doesn't allow,
But
this one will be
will
okay.
be allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might depend. I would say that would depend on the bouncy castle company.
But usually the biggest complaint is that the face paint will go onto the equipment.
Yeah,
because
so this won't go onto the equipment. It just means that the bouncy castle company might not know that waterproof face paint or water resistant face paint exists. So they still might say no, because to them they might not know that this is a product that they could use.
Yeah, exactly.
But
We need to contact the bouncy castle companies and
we
start
can
working with
inform
them.
them of that.
Yeah.
ProAiir, contact them.
Just get a cleaning product.
Yeah.
Just a cleaning
But
product for
the other thing about this is that it won't sweat off because it's alcohol based. So it's not going to, if it's boiling at a festival all day long, this won't come off.
Or nightclub gigs.
Yeah.
Plus Halloween is coming, we have 2 Halloween palettes.
Yeah, they have another 6 set of these with 6 different colors. You can kind of see from the back that has 6 colors in it. And we have 2 different versions in stock right now. I think one is called Wicked, and the other one is called Thrilled. And they're both different special effects colors. We also have all of the special effects colors available individually as well in the same containers as the black and white that we have, which are over here. So we have the special effects colors in this kind of container as well. And they have another special effects palette that we will have before Halloween as well. That's kind of cooler tones. So the ones we have downstairs right now are a little bit warmer. I think that concludes everyone's questions. Does anybody else have any more questions? Does anyone have questions about our contest? Is everyone going to enter a contest because you're here and you have all of the supplies to enter?
As long as we use any ProAiir product.
Any ProAiir
Picture,
product,
right?
so you can use stuff.
Airbrush. Hey, yeah, I can enter it right up now.
I
I like the way he thinks.
you know that I see all your pictures before I put them in the pot.
I'm gonna be like, I recognize that.
Like mine.
Yes, but everyone who's online, you can also enter our social media contest, and we'll have the details up on that in a couple days. And thank you for everyone who tuned in online, and thank you for everyone to come in person to our jam space and try out our stuff and go shopping and talk to other face painters about face painting stuff. What's your question? Okay, what's your
Too late
question?
for a question?
It's okay.
Okay, I bought them years ago when they first came out. How long can you keep them in the bottle?
The
Will it-
shelf
will it-
life,
Like I see them here.
yeah,
and
the,
they're cracked. If they really, like if they totally
Yeah.
get strong, like thick.
There is a thinner,
Can you put
So-
the thinner in it?
yeah, so we do have the thinner. So the question is, how long does, what's the shelf life for ProAiir products? For their dips and their hybrids specifically, right?
Mhm.
So their dips and their hybrids have a shelf life of about 2 years. If it does dry out, and especially if you leave the cap open, like if you untwist it and you leave it open and it starts drying out, you can add the thinner product to it. We have a little bottle of thinner. And I think it's,
It will restore paint like.
yeah, and it's $4.99 or $5.99, something like that.
Yes.
It's not very expensive. And you can add that into your paint to kind of revive it. If you do have paint that's really old though, we don't, in general, recommend using paint that's really old if it looks like it didn't look like when you bought it. So there are certain things, like we can take a look at it later as well. For airbrush paint, so the hybrids and the dips, they do separate. And so the longer you leave it, the more it'll separate. If you leave it for a really long time, you'll hear there's a glass bead in there, and that glass bead can get encapsulated in a pigment. So you can stir it with a stir stick, and that generally helps to break it up, and then see if it returns back to its original state. And if it doesn't, no matter what you do, return back to its original state, then I would replace it.
Would that same thinner work with the airbrush paints
Yeah.
as well as the dips?
Yep, it's universal for the thinner. Did you have a question too?
So, sorry, do you have to spray, once you paint it with the product, do you have to spray with the Prolong to set it? Or that just adds extra longevity to it?
So the question is, if after you paint, do you have to spray your design with the Prolong spray, or can you just leave it? And the answer is, it does add longevity. It doesn't, you don't need it because it's the same composition of the paint anyway, so it's like adding another thin layer of paint on top. So it does seal things. What it does is, if this is your surface of paint and painting on it gives all of these little ridges, the Prolong creates another smooth surface. And so if you have any friction on that surface, it'll rub off in a different way instead of just rubbing off the ridges from your brush strokes. That's the main difference, but it increases longevity. You can also put the Prolong spray onto water activated paint, and it doesn't make it completely waterproof at all, but it increases the amount that it's water resistant. You can go out in a rainstorm with Prolong on top of water activated paint, and it keeps it mostly on. You can't go in a pool with that method, but it does in your everyday face painting kit. It does have a place in terms of increasing the durability of your products on the skin. The dips and the solids are the way to go if you want to have fully water resistant face paint that you can go out in a thunderstorm in and pop in a pool in, or go into a sprinkler in, or use it on a really hot day when everybody's sweating a lot. Those won't come off because they're the water resistant ones. So it's just a different combination of those products. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. So where we were saying thank you for everyone for joining us, and we're gonna remind you. I'm gonna remind you again to enter in our contest because I want you all to enter it. And what we'll do right now is we will sign off from our live stream. I will set up our dips table again, and if you didn't get a chance to make one of those split cakes, then please make one. I also have some extra plastic, so if you want to try a different combination, you can try a different combination. I have some brushes and some of the solids and such that are kind of everywhere right now that I will put in a more organized way so that you can kind of experiment and try that out, and let me know if you have any questions. And we will open the store as well, so you can go shopping if you want. Wait,
I have
you were all right?
$24
Yeah.
left.
Thank you.